So hey, welcome to another Coffee with David. Today we've been carrying on this whole like they gotta have a connection thing. Well, last time we were talking about the Cartoon Network slash Hanna-Barbera combination of the What a Cartoon Show. Well, let's throw into another Cartoon Network Hanna-Barbera thing. So when Ted Turner was going around on his vision of making the Cartoon Network, he went around and bought all these properties. And one of the shows that he picked up was called The Banana Splits. But don't worry, this isn't just a recap of the show The Banana Splits. Instead, we're taking a look at the 2019 movie. This was a very, very different thing than The Banana Splits.
Banana split!
What's a banana split? What's a banana split?
So this was like a really creative idea. I absolutely, whoa. Yeah, no, this is different. This is very different. Here's the thing. I don't like horror movies. At all.
Our first one.
See you after the movie.
We're gonna do David's David's out.
Like when David calls. Okay, yeah, we're gonna be filming while we're watching the movie, so you'll be able to see about the time when David calls, "I'm done, I'm out."
I don't like horror movies.
This is my favorite time of year.
Yeah, no, that's a thing. I really hate horror movies. But I decided this was probably just going to be a feel-good comedy slasher, which, props to it, that's exactly what I got. Here's some of my general thoughts that probably should take it away from this film. First off, it's a really good idea. I mean, why not use a property that you're not going to use anymore, reboot it, reuse it in a unique way? And that's exactly what they did in this one. No one really remembers this show, so you can come around the lie of this thing was used in 1970 and kind of pick up on some nostalgia along the process. The show came out when my dad was a baby. That's how old this show is. It's a 50-year-old property no one really recalls anymore. So it kind of gives you the opportunity to almost make a laboratory experiment and see what you can do, see what you can get away with, see what you can make. And why not make a fun little slasher? But here's some general thoughts. First, the color is awesome. The use of browns and golds and kind of these oranges, they kind of make a little bit of a flavor back to that 70s, 60s vibe that was so popular way back when this thing was actually on the air. So it's got a good vibe there. I love the use of it. I love that it goes so well with the shading inside the studio. It's very, very cool. Number two, the characters are kind of meh. I thought that, honestly, they were all just kind of stereotypes just all living together. You got Instagram dude, you got Instagram model, you've got Paige the Page, which actually was pretty funny. Dick bag, stepdad, kick-ass mom. There's a ton of stereotypical characters in this, and it kind of works. It doesn't make you think very hard, but even though that they have these very stereotypical characters in there, they do go back and they do take moments for a little bit of character development, which is nice because I feel like sometimes that's something that gets lost in a film like this. The next thing I want to bring up, practical gore. Oh yeah, this film is full of it. Practical gore is everywhere in this movie. I mean, my favorite shot in the entire thing is somewhere between the banana split shot and possibly Instagram dude getting chopped up and then pulling him apart in the cart, and there's just guts utterly pouring everywhere. Awesome shots. Yeah, this movie's gory, but you gotta love the fact that practicals took over this entire thing. Next, you gotta buy into this film. This is a film that has a very loose plot. You can find holes in it pretty quick, but the general idea is there. It's sound enough to where you don't have to make these mega leaps to make this a slasher film. It's just that you have to buy into the logic because there are holes that you can poke and prod in. But if you don't have some fun with it and just accept the fact that this is a slasher film, you're going to have issues. But if you do buy into that notion, which I highly recommend that you just go in and enjoy it, you're going to enjoy some really great moments like Drooper dancing when he sets a dude on fire. You're going to have these moments where you enjoy it's hammer time.
I did giant hammer.
She did it! He took it down to Hammer Town! Three cheers for Rebecca! Hip hip hooray!
You're going to enjoy the heck out of a lot of these moments and just die laughing from all the murder. Like, it's a murder fest that you get to enjoy. Next, Snorky's also my favorite, so that I just want to say that. Another thing that I think you should take away from this film is that the voice acting in it is amazing. The guy who does the voices for all the banana splits not only does a great job of creating character voices, he actually does a pretty good job mimicking the guys who did the voices for the banana splits back in the 60s and 70s.
Alan Melvin was notorious for voicing Magilla Gorilla, and he also appeared on camera as Sam the Butcher in The Brady Bunch. And in this story, he is Drooper. And for his voice, you know, he kind of had the droopy kind of voice. So we kind of had that southern drawl, very slow, and that's what we did. We kind of didn't really change much. But of course, there are some scenes that are a lot less like the original show. So we kind of eviled it up a bit. Dawes Butler, as you know, as Huckleberry Hound in the Hanna-Barbera cartoons. And here he plays Bingo. And for that, he was, you know, again, much more high-pitched. Again, a little bit of that weird southern drawl, but we managed to separate him from Drooper, who's down here. The great Paul Winchell, of course, we know him as Tigger from Winnie the Pooh, from a lot of Disney films. Here he plays Fleagle, who I think is probably the prominent main banana split. And I always kind of like listen to that voice and equate it to human bagpipes, the amount of power and energy that he brings to this character, and then the floppiness of it all. I don't want to spit on you.
Eric Bauza is actually the current voice of Bugs Bunny, other cartoon characters, and he's got a pretty extensive resume, and it makes sense that Warner Brothers picked him out because he kills it in this. He is amazing as a voice actor, and he's just making it come to life. There's also a ton of other technical stuff that I highly recommend that you check out about this. The fact that no robots weren't actually used in the making of this film, and it's pretty obvious, but the dancers did a really good job replicating the movements of robots in some fashion and making it coordinated. There's a ton of good stuff that you should check out about this film. So I highly recommend this bad boy, especially if you're into some darker kind of humor. This is a show I watched when I was real little. And my old babysitter, every time I see her, around, she'll mention this show to me because of how much I loved it when I was a little kid. And now it's great because I get to enjoy it as an adult with plenty of gore. So no, check out this movie. It's one you may have not heard of, but I definitely recommend. Check out the Banana Splits movie. It's great. It's awesome. A lot of fun. Huge body count. Gore like you wouldn't believe. It's a complete movie. It's a complete cinematic experience. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, I highly recommend it. I'd probably give this an 8 out of 10.
I just really want your brother's birthday to be perfect.
We're gonna have so much fun!
Hey, thanks for joining me on Coffee With. We're going to have another episode out soon, I'm sure. So until then, go ahead and subscribe and we'll let you kind of dive in, enjoy some of our other videos, whatever you want to do. No pressure, right? But I'll see you next time on Coffee With.